Wait on you. I put your. Oops. I've had a lot of typos today, but I can change that later. And I did mention this earlier in the podcast, but whenever I have like a D flat, 9 times out of 10, I will actually put the same files in a different folder, but call it C sharp. So I'll literally have another version of the chart that says C sharp versus D flat, even though it's going to sound the same to the listener. For someone playing on an instrument, let's say it's their first time, it's their first instrument, or it's they're just learning. For whatever reason, it might make more sense. I mean, in this case, if you're playing guitar, you would capo and you would play it because the original song is in D. So if you're able to go, technically you can't go down. But let's say you're playing in D, but you're using like the C shape, then you could move it down and use a capo. But for any other instruments, piano, other than doing the transpose button, for bass, maybe you like flats more than you like to see the sharp notes, and vocally it doesn't really matter, drums wise it doesn't really matter. But let's go for our sanity. Let's go to, I don't have the charts in here. Look at that. Well, shoot. We're going to have to go to the interwebs. Wow. All right, so wait on you. Click in here to elevation. And what did I say? We're going to do D, right? D is right here. Bam. So I need to download these. I might actually sneeze really quick. Maybe not. Maybe we'll see. Okay, so this song is crazy long. I think the total time is like 13 minutes, which is just insane. But luckily, let's see if I put the notes down. So, and also I think this is the most notes I've ever put on a podcast song. So that's kind of funny. Nothing crazy. It's just, I was trying to remember things while I was listening to it. So yes, it is 13 minutes long. It is in D flat / C sharp, again, other than the original. The thing that, I can't remember what I was going to bring up now that I said all this. The timing. Okay, so 7 minutes comes second bridge. So by the time we get to the 7-minute mark, we're now introducing what will inevitably be the last half of the song, but it's, we're at the second bridge. So the song's already happened. We're kind of coming back and they're introducing a new bridge. So just kind of funny. But yeah, very interesting melody to start with. I made a note that it's a very specific type of verse for like a specific type of situation or person, or I said it's not really congregational. It's when you're talking about pots of gold or a hospital room, not everybody has those, references that they could pull from. If you've never had anyone in a hospital, even yourself, like fighting something like a cancer, a disease, we've seen TV shows and stuff like that, or movies, but the pot of gold thing too, at the end of a rainbow, just very esoteric, which is fine. But yeah, I've had pastors who we've written songs at the church, and they've respectively asked us to change certain things because it just sounded too esoteric. It sounded too artsy. And the idea is that when you do write a worship song, you do want it to be congregational. You do want everyone who's singing it to actually have it apply to them in their life, or at least know somebody. So, and then curious. Oh yeah, I was curious what the chorus would sound like in 3/4 versus 12/8. Now, if you don't know the difference between that, the best way I could put it is like, it's a shuffling, right? 12/8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's almost like Christmassy, right? But if you didn't listen to the guitar, like the dun 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 dun, if you didn't listen to the guitar and you just heard the drums, you would think it's in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the vocals kind of do a little triplet-y, kind of waltzy vibe. But once it gets to the chorus, I'm gonna wait on you to, I'm gonna wait on you. I've tasted your goodness. I've trusted your promise. And the BPM is 104, which for a waltz is not. It's technically fast because normally a song like this would maybe be like 80 BPMs, but the interesting part, I just thought of was because if we have this, very interesting melody line, by the way. I think it goes up there, maybe. But anyways, I'm gonna wait on you. Like my thought was, what if it was just, slower, I'm gonna wait on you. Yes, I'm gonna wait on you. Tasted your goodness, trusted your promise, wait on you. It feels more, not in 3, but that seems like a typical worship vibe, right? Versus the verses are very, I've done it's very narrative-y. That's not a word, but it sounds like you're narrating versus just singing a song. So, not to mention all the words, but okay. The break. Okay, so bridges are cool. I keep forgetting there's multiple pages. So wait on the Lord. Wait. He will renew your strength. I love the chord changes for the first bridge for sure. So I have in parentheses G/B, so G over B. They don't do it every time, but they'll do it occasionally, especially the bass player. And then even at the end part, the E minor, D F sharp, D over F sharp, and then A over C sharp. When they introduce it, yes, they play the C sharp, but then other times they only play the A. So just be mindful of that. That's something I would tell you. Talk to your band, talk to your worship leader, your MD, and just say, hey, do you want to keep doing these changes? Are we going to do it every time? Are we not going to do it at all? Or we're going to do it like once? So just something to clear up before you guys go crazy with the worship. Can I not scroll down? I should be can I touch it? No. Well, I'm hoping we can see all the parts. But then we have, so bridge 1 is the same. It's the same. I don't know why I kept the chords there. The vocals are different, aren't they? No. Something was usually different if I leave a bridge, but maybe not. But then there's the alt bridge, which it does this walk-up thing, right? I'm singing I'm singing like the harmony. Do 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 ba da da da. So it's essentially the same types of progression. They're just adding extra notes. But another thing I thought of, and now my nose is running. One thing I thought of was the idea of doing G, A, G over B, right? A, G over B, A over C sharp. Now, you might have to do that if you're limited to, not really playing minor chords. So I think it'd be okay. Maybe not really on piano, but on other instruments, guitar, bass doesn't matter. But all that to be said is try it. I put minors there just because that was what I would do, and it does sound a little bit more like the record, but just because you're playing an alternate version of those notes doesn't mean it's wrong. And then bridge 2, we actually have those same alt bridge chords, but now every time. So they're literally doing the G, A, B minor, A over C sharp every single time. So we don't do the E minor, D over F sharp, A over C sharp thing. bass slow walk up. There is an instance where instead of doing the G to the A for the bridge 2, there's that that's like a consistent kind of change instead of doing. Instead of doing those changes, the bass at some point just does these notes. Now the inversion of G to A would be B to C sharp. So it's like a slower version of the changes that we're already doing. But anyway, something to be mindful of if you're a bass player, that does happen. I think it's probably the last time of the bridge or a couple last times. And yeah, so once again, it's 7 minutes, so we're halfway through the song, and they then introduce that bridge 2 part. So just something to be mindful of, that maybe your congregation might not get that far. You might not be able to play the whole song, which is okay. Or you can cut out some other parts, some other repeats of bridge 1. But then we do go to a tag, which is just really quick tags. That's what happens when you wait. Same chords. Go back to bridge 2, bridge 3. And then the last part, and I actually did cut it short technically, because I'm going to tag 3. The D to D sus to G. Because after this point, after you're doing this whole, that's what happens when you wait, and they're just doing this big building thing on the D notes. I put D sus to D. I think it's the opposite. So all that to be said. And then they also do hit a G at the end. Not every time, but it's a good way to, it's not a 5 note, but it is a 4, and it just helps bring you back to the 1. You want to resolve it if you go back to that G. So, but yeah, after that point, after you get to all these parts, I think that even in the recording, they were relying heavily on the lead worship leader. Lead worship leader, but the worship leader and the MD. I'm guessing they were vibing off of the worship leader, and the MD is probably calling out the changes, because at that point, there's no chart that could save you. It's all instinct. It's all you just reacting. So anyways, crazy long song, a lot of random little factoids, but definitely worth trying if your band is up to it and your worship team. And enjoy.